Welcome back to another episode of the Canon on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host Terry, and today reviewing season 1 of Peacemaker on HBO Max. James Gunn delivers this spin-off continuation of the Peacemaker character from Suicide Squad. I don't know why I'm recapping, but anyway. So yeah, we got the finale today. Man, such a great show. Such a great show. And I know it's a great show for me, especially because I did not like the Suicide Squad. I think I did my review on here, but I did not like that movie at all. And I thought John Cena was fine, but I didn't dislike Peacemaker, but I did not care about him. And then when he killed Rick Flag, I was like, whatever, I hope he dies. And then him being alive after that was just like, really? How? And then they said he was having a show. And I was like, so they're going to keep him alive out of all people to do a show with? Really? Stupid. And so I was just like, whatever. He should have died. So I came into it skeptical, to say the least. And it's DC. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see what they got. And then I was hearing people say it was good as well, too. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. Man, I'm trying to think all that. Well, no, I remember the first episode when he left the hospital and all that. It was good. It kind of brings you in. Like, I'm a fan of John Cena, so it was nothing against him. And so when you got to see the focus be on him and do a little more than he did in the Suicide Squad, it was fun. They hit you with some funny jokes. And then, really quickly you find out that this is way worse than Suicide Squad. I guess maybe because The Suicide Squad was a theater release. And even though it's rated R, they didn't want to go nuts. I don't know. But this was way worse. And so I'm just like, okay, we really going there. And now I don't like that stuff, to be honest with you. I'm not a gore person. I'm not oh my God, they said the F word. I'm not none of that stuff. All this, it needs to be rated R so we can be gross and weird. Like, I don't rock with that stuff. Like, if it works well with the story and with the tone, fine. But I don't get excited because that's how they do a show or a movie. That being said, I think this show balanced it pretty well, especially in the first episode, because I could have easily left out. And I think that one good thing they did, many, was ramp it up as the show went on rather than just being ridiculous from like the beginning. But yeah, honestly, it's hard to even remember all the episodes before Vigilante really got involved, because once he got involved, he was my favorite. I know a number of people that's their favorite, but I think it's hard to say that he didn't add a different energy to the show. I just really feel like, I don't know, he just added something. But overall, I think the story was told well. I think the character arcs were well defined and really ahead of the story. I mean, the story is about it's not Task Force X, but whatever, Waller. It's another one of those missions. Save the world in secret. The butterflies invade. Blah blah blah. Yes, that story is the main story, but really the show is about the arcs, especially the arc of Peacemaker. But then there's arcs for everybody else too. So that was really well done in the writing. And obviously you get more episodes and time to lay the breadcrumbs and connect the dots that you don't really get in the movie. And so as a series, I think they use their episodes well. Some shows, Boba Fett, they don't do well with that. Even though you have 8 episodes, 8 hours or 13 hours to tell a story, that doesn't mean you could get from point A to point B, but that doesn't mean you always kind of get multiple storylines set up in the beginning and then follow through. This did that well. Like, the decisions that were made impacted the next episode. Like, you didn't forget about anything. And that's one of the things that annoys me a little bit with the MCU, is that you from movie to movie, some of those decisions don't mean anything from other movies. And that gets a little annoying. But with this, obviously one person in charge of it, everything that happened built upon itself. And I'll say this too. When talking about my disappointment with Star Wars in general, one thing that was refreshing about this is that it goes forward. Like, you don't meet Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad and he dies and you say, you know what, but let's go back before that and do a prequel about Peacemaker. Which, if you had this same show, I mean, yes, I still think it would have been great, but just there's something to me, especially with the finale and the Justice League cameo, there's something to me that adds much more substance when you know that this is going forward. We are moving forward. We left off a story here and we're going forward. And it connected in way more ways than I thought it would. And we'll get to that. I just want to review the actual series first. So like I said, the writing was great, the character arcs and everything. John Cena, I thought he did his best. It wasn't bad at all. If I had to say, it was probably a solid B. There's just, limits to what he can do right now. And there's many times where, while he looks big, when he moves, especially with weapons, I'm like, yeah, he's slow as crap. But overall, played the role very well. Gave it his all. Definitely gave it his all. But, he's John Cena. To me, which was more impressive, acting-wise and just the way the character was written, is Vigilante. But I liked everybody. And honestly, Adebayo, I know her name's Danielle. I don't remember her real name, last name. But she wasn't acting the best to me, but it was something about her character that I just really liked. I felt kind of like Peacemaker, where you just want her to be your little sister or something. I don't know. But she was good. I mean, everybody. I loved it. The jokes and the comedy, funny. Some stuff not my speed, but funny. And what's interesting, and they kind of get away with this these days, to be honest, but I'm always interested how these line-pushing comedians can write comedy in 2022 without going over the line. And I think using like bad characters as a way to just get funny jokes off that are offensive, but be like, hey, it's the bad character in the show, we condoned it or didn't condone it. I don't like that. I don't really like that. Like, if that's what you think is funny and that's what you want to deliver it. It's always like, the movie didn't tell us that it was wrong. The movie didn't say that they weren't supposed to. Who cares? If you think it's wrong, you think it's wrong. Who cares that the movie has to say it? So, but that's one way people are getting around it. But outside of Peacemaker's dad and stuff, there was still a lot of funny stuff that, wasn't completely offensive or whatever. And I think that was, again, good writing. So I enjoyed all that, man. The chemistry, all that, just the whole show. What I would say, it is a very comprehensive show. That's what I would say. You're talking about great writing. You're talking about people that really fit as actors to the characters. You're talking about chemistry. You're talking about comedy. You're talking about bringing in drama. I've talked about this before, just at least how I evaluate things, degree of difficulty. And the degree of difficulty for this was pretty high because James Gunn wanted to put it all in there. Gross, like gore. He wanted to put in funny stuff. He wanted to put in action. He wanted to put in drama and psychology. He wanted to put in some love. He wanted to put in He did it all. And it pulled off very well. And I love Judo Master. Yeah, so those are the big things. Let's talk about the Justice League. And this is not a Peacemaker thing. I just don't understand what's happening with the DCU. And I will not call it the DCEU. I won't. I just, to me at this point, I just have believed that whatever happens in a Flashpoint is going to put us on a path. Now we have rumors, speculation that this will separate what we've known as the Snyderverse, some say, and put us on a different path. And some say that's going to put the Snyderverse in its own pocket universe so Snyder could come back and continue it, which is feasible. First of all, anything's feasible once you get into time or multiverse. And as far as the industry is feasible because we see, DC themselves doing multiple storylines. And so it's feasible. But I don't tend to believe Zack Snyder's coming back. If you really listen to the stuff he said, I don't think he's coming back. So whether or not it helps Snyder come back, it seems like this is set up from the rumors and everything to put us on a path. We're going to know. Because we don't know where it's at, but Michael B. Jordan is somehow working on producing a Black Superman movie, which I'm at this point guessing is HBO Max, because now we're hearing a lot of these movies that they talked about are actually just HBO Max movies, which doesn't mean they're not movies, but you know. And so he's got that. What's his name? I always want to say James Gunn. It's not James Gunn. Bad Robot, Force Awakens, Star Trek, J.J. Abrams. We got him that signed this fat deal with Bad Robot and Warner Brothers. So he's going to do something. I don't care what people say. Some people's like he's not the actual head of the DCU replacing Snyder. I don't care what he is. They paid him money. He going to do some stuff. So we got him potentially, not potentially, he's supposed to be working on a Superman movie with a Black Superman with Ta-Nehisi Coates, my boy. And so there's that. Then we got the Batman that's separate from any Ben Affleck Batman, that's separate from Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, that's also separate from Michael Keaton's Batman returning, and Ben Affleck in Flashpoint. So we got a lot going on. Not to mention Blue Beetle coming, Green Lantern Corps coming, all types of crap. I just don't know where we are. And to me, I was like, they are kind of, because you going forward with Aquaman 2, Wonder Woman 84 was absolutely horrible, and they supposed to be doing the third one. So you're going to continue on with these Justice League members, even though Batman and Superman ain't there, the actors no more, even though you don't really have a cohesive storyline. We're going forward with Black Adam, bringing in new people. We're going forward with Shazam, who had Superman in it, but now we don't have Henry Cavill. So it's just like, where are we going? And to me, I was like, I think they just low-key made a bunch of individual projects, and they kind of silently was like, yeah, we don't care about universe anymore. And then Peacemaker. The Suicide Squad, besides Harley Quinn, absent of really any, or Amanda Waller, absent of really any ties to Snyderverse. There ain't no Ben Affleck Batman. There's no mention of Batman. There's no mention of Deadshot, Joker, none of it. There's no mention of, first of all, when did Harley Quinn get caught again? But there's no mention of none of that. Not Siren, whatever her name is, Black Canary. None of that. Huntress from the Emancipation of Harley Quinn. None of that's mentioned. Harley Quinn just pops up. This is a random Suicide Squad movie. Okay. So then we get Peacemaker, a spinoff of a random Suicide Squad movie. Okay, cool. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, they're name dropping. They got the rights to name drop, but whatever. Then we see the Justice League. And not only the Justice League, but clearly the Justice League from the main universe. And not only clearly their likeness, actual Jason Momoa and I almost call him Barry Allen, Ezra Miller. Now look, am I shocked that Jason Momoa would want to do a James Gunn cameo or Ezra Miller? So I don't know why I said it like that. Ezra Miller? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. That is up their alley. But it still says something to me to have those two show up, to allow James Gunn to have those two show up. And so, and not only show up, but kind of be in the same vulgar tone as the show. But that to me changes things. And not only, you know, having Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, whatever, but having her daughter out Argus in the Suicide Squad Task Force X program, that changes a lot. So I don't, now I'm even more confused. I don't know where we're going. Now, Flashpoint could retcon a lot of this and it won't matter. But as of right now, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say, mix the two because we about to retcon it anyway. But as of right now, I just don't, that makes it weird to me. It makes it very weird because Ben Affleck was not part of Task Force X, but he knew of it and he talked to Amanda Waller. His Bruce Wayne talked to Amanda Waller. His Bruce Wayne locked up Deadshot. And so, to me, it's hard to see them from the Justice League, to see people that are cross-pollinated with Ben Affleck's Batman have their world shaken up. How does that not shake up Batman's world? How do we just not have Batman and never talk about it? I don't know. I really don't know. So that threw me off. I'm not gonna lie. It was cool and I loved it. And I want the DCU to work. I want it to exist. There's no DCU now. I want it to exist. I want us to be able to do what Marvel is doing right now and bringing people into the Disney Plus shows. Kinda. They don't do too much of it. But to be able to do that. Like, yes, if I do a random character who was a random member of the Suicide Squad, got out, and I, for whatever reason, wanted to focus a whole series on him, yes, I would like him to talk crap about Aquaman and have Aquaman be able to show up when there's an extinction level event. And this is why I say MCU don't do that, because people be crying like, hey, everybody doesn't have to show up to everything. BS, man. They don't have to show up to everything, but if you wrote it, then be consistent. Spider-Man should have showed up in New York when the whatever world power leaders were being attacked in his city. He should have showed up. And so anyway, but that's what we got here, and that's what we should have. Now it is a little weird to say the Flash didn't make it there in time. But anyway, sorry. That's what we should have. We should have an organic living universe. And the whole streaming, as much as I don't think is going to end well for everybody with this many streaming platforms, right now it's a great fertile ground. Because for whatever reason, they want to, maybe because it's less episodes, but they are not scared to put money into these series more than they do on a regular TV show. But they're not going as crazy as they would with a movie. So we can put energy into big movies, but still give quality experimental stuff on HBO Max or Disney Plus. And it's a great feeder system. It's a great way to test characters, and it's a great way to keep the main characters in our mind by having them cameo, and it's a great way to world build. If we got to a point, the problem is right now it's too fragmented. So even if the Green Lantern Corps is a great show, even if the Batgirl movie is great, even if the Blue Beetle movie is great, even if they do the Static Shock movie and it's great, it's just like, where does this all fit? Because there's so much crap happening right now. That's the problem. And they should reboot, reset. That's 100% the answer. But they're not going to. They're in motion with too many things. And so I'm hoping they have a clever way of with Flashpoint, as I said, to wrangle it back in and put us in one organic universe. That's what I'm happy. Even if we have to use it to say there's multiverses. And now our main universe is going to take place in this version. So that way, when we have something random that, and really what they should do is they should do that for all the properties. So if you get it to a multiverse and you establish Earth 478, whatever, is our main universe, that's the one we're about, then you can do Robert Pattinson the Batman and at the beginning just put Earth 2 Or you could do the Joker 2 with Joaquin Phoenix, and at the beginning just boom, boom, Earth 2007. Like, you could do that, and then it's just clean. It's clean. It's like, yes, this is the DC universe, vast universe, but no, this isn't happening with our main characters. And more than likely, those characters will never cross paths with these characters. That's what they should do, to me. So, anyway, Peacemaker itself, great show. And do I have to say it? That opening was amazing. That's a phenomenon. I have to call it what it is. Like, that is too much a part of my daily life, and I never saw that coming. That's a phenomenon. The behind the scenes is great. I love it. Also, no, I do got a couple of things to say. I wish they killed everybody. Now, this might be dark. Some people are speculating that now that we know season 2 is coming, that Warner Brothers might have liked it more than they thought, and they changed the ending. And to me, the way it's shot, it very much could be, because even though there's sometimes Vigilante just pops back up randomly, for the most part, they're intentional with what they show. So with Vigilante being shot, with parkour going through like that whole just slow death thing, to have them flip it around and be okay was a little weird. To me, honestly, and again, it might be dark, I think it should have been Vigilante, just like he did in the middle of the fight, dying. You know, he loves killing, he dies. Parkour going down in a big tragic moment. Her and Adebayo have a moment together, and then she ends up dying. Not by the butterfly necessarily, but dying. And then, his name isn't Diebeer. Economos. He snapped his leg. Really, I just want him to say, F it. I got to get in the game and just do his best. And then he dies so that Adebayo could continue on to go find Peacemaker. And then when they get out, he finds them dead. Now, yes, I know it's dark and they're focusing on how trauma is haunting Peacemaker, so this wouldn't help. But, hey, like I said, it should end with them dying, him surviving, and Adebayo following her mom's orders and putting him back in Belle Reeve so he could recycle back into the Task Force X. That was the story. That was the natural groove of the story. Not to say what happened didn't work for me, but the natural groove of, especially when I think of in terms of Suicide Squad and not James Gunn, that was the natural groove of the story. But again, I like what we got. And I was going to say something about the cow. I don't remember. Oh, they missed a huge, James Gunn, great writer, huge opportunity, very small. But once he did the human torpedo Adebayo into the cow, and she came with all the guts, like, what the? I was like, oh, well, I know exactly what he's going to say. And he didn't. Now we're even. That's, oh, come on now. That was perfect. But anyway, so that's it for me. Loved it. I said A+ show. A+ show. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe. And if you heard it here, it's official canon.